Good everyone. So the practicing the response to anything. So we just want to look at the next picture.
Okay, so I'll just let us know our speaker for today. So can everybody see my screen? Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So our speaker for today is Ruth Oladele, and Ruth Oladele is a and a multiple award-winning public health researcher. She University of Ibadan in 2019, where she won an award for the best project in the Department of Physiotherapy, outstanding researcher of the Association of Clinical and Academic Physiotherapists of Nigeria in November 2020. So as a researcher with over 3 years of research experience, Ruth has co-authored over 15 research publications with research interests focused on non-communicable diseases, mental health, and sexual health in vulnerable and underserved populations. Also, she served as a peer reviewer for few reputable international journals such as Health Security, the Journal of the John Hopkins Center for Health Security, and Global Health Journals, among others. So we'll be starting now. Ruth, are you there? Okay. Can you hear me, Ruth? Okay. So we'll be starting now. We hope to finish very soon. So Ruth, you can share your screen and start. Thank you. Can you share your screen now? Just 1 minute, everyone. Ruth has been unable to unmute herself, so that's what I'm trying to sort out.
Oh, all right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay.
Good
I
evening.
don't seem to be able to unmute from my system. So I think I'll be using my phone and my system together. I hope it's not going. Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll be looking at effective literature review. I think that's the topic. I have a. I hope that you all can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, when we talk of literature review, I mean, what's literature review? Okay, first, we have to understand that research is what we call formalized curiosity, in the sense that, okay, like the word implies hyphen, then search. So it means that we're searching what already is known or what already is available. And that's why I have this quote from Zora Austin that says, research is formalized curiosity. It is spoken and primed with a purpose. So in the field of research, we have a purpose for which we're making a search. And it is this purpose actually that actually drives us into conducting a literature review. Do we get that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. So when we say literature review, okay, basically, we're talking about a search and critique of available literatures on a particular topic of interest. Do you get that? So it means that for literature review, there is a particular topic of interest. That's very important. And then we want to search for available literatures and also critique or evaluate or appraise the available literatures on this topic of interest. Do we get that? So it means that if we don't have a topic of interest, then we can't conduct a literature review, well, as such, yes, because it means that there is something, like I said earlier, like research is that you're trying to pry with a purpose, yes. So the purpose is the topic of interest, and then the prying is where the search and the critique of available literatures come into place. So what's the importance of literature review? Why do we conduct literature reviews? Now, first, because it helps us to know what is already known. So I said, for example, we have a topic of interest, and so want to know, okay, what is known already. Now, when we know what is known, actually, we'll be able to answer the second aim, which is identify what is not known in research. So, and that would help us to define and refine the existing gaps in literature. Yeah. So we have a topic of interest. We want to find out what is known. We want to know, okay, what has not been done yet. Okay, what are the existing gaps? And that would help to narrow down our own topic or our own area of research interest. Now, why we conduct literature reviews also is because for a research to be published or for a research to be read, it has to be novel. And novelty in the sense that it has not been conducted or it has not been done before. So the only way you would be able to answer if a study has been done or has not been done before is by conducting a literature review. And so that is why literature review is a very important step in the research process. If you miss literature review, then believe me, you probably miss everything out about the research, because you might find out that the research you actually published had probably been published maybe like 5 years back. So to avoid that, an author or authors generally have to always conduct a literature review before fully deciding on whatever topic or whatever research they want to conduct. Okay, so here we have the steps in conducting a literature review. And in this presentation, I have highlighted 5 basic steps for conducting a literature review. And so the first step is you have to choose a topic. Then, after you choose a topic, you identify databases and resources. Then from there, you conduct a search, you read, and you write. Okay, so I included writing because I observed that the series of topics, the 10 topics, there is nothing about writing. So that's actually included writing also, because literature review involves searching for literatures, it involves reading to literatures, and it also involves writing and editing, as the case may be. So in subsequent slides, we'll take each of the steps one after the other. So the first step is in what? Choosing a topic. Now, oftentimes, beginner researchers ask, okay, how do I identify a topic? How do I pick a topic? What kind of topic do I consider? Now, one foremost thing in choosing a topic is that first you actually have to look at your interests. And I would like to advise that you should not, well, it is advisable not to conduct a research that you are not interested in. One of the reasons is because researches could be tiring, actually, and could be a long process. Now, if it's a topic you are not interested in, by the time the challenges come, you may actually lose interest. And that's why most times people have a lot of unpublished or undone research works, basically, because they probably lost interest along the way. So one way to choose a topic is you have an area of interest. And our area of interest is usually fueled by lots of factors. So for example, let's say, okay, I have an interest. Hello. All right, so let's say I have an interest in persons with disabilities. Maybe because I'm a physiotherapist and I do interact a lot with persons with disabilities. So now I have an area of interest. I'm interested in persons with disabilities. Now that's very broad. Get that? And okay, I'm like, okay, what particular thing am I interested with for people with disabilities? I'm like, okay, maybe I'm interested in people with physical disabilities. Say, for example, people with spinal cord injury. Now that's too broad. And okay, I'm like, okay, what about them interests me? Now, maybe in my discussions with patients who have SCI, spinal cord injury, or relatives of persons who have SCIs, maybe at the initial stage, they are probably worried about if they would be able to meet the sexual expectations of their partners. And so, and more so, you know that in this developing world, people with disabilities most times are seen as asexual people whose sexual needs are not important. I mean, people feel that the one that is battling itself is more than you should be thinking of sex and the likes. So now, based on my interactions with people, based on my environment, I have identified a topic of interest. And so I'm interested in sexual health of persons with disabilities. Now that is still a very broad topic, but of course, the focus of this lecture is not on refining a topic. We have looked at how to narrow the topic further. But literature review also helps us in narrowing our topics further. Do we get that? So everybody has an area of interest, and most times you are curious about something. You want to know, okay, maybe if persons with maybe if persons with disabilities, if okay, maybe they could use, I don't know, I'm just thinking now. I never thought of it before. Maybe they could probably use sex toys to probably meet their sexual needs. Now my topic may not make sense. Like I said, I'm just trying to give an example. But I'm trying to show that usually topic of interest come from our curiosity. Do you understand? That's one way to choose a topic. So a researcher is an inquisitive person. You are curious as a researcher, and with that, you can have different research ideas which could help you in choosing a topic in the long run. Also, another way of choosing a topic is also by reading through current research publications, or maybe current issues, basically. For example, now we know that in the era of health, this is the COVID-19 pandemic, and now people, or let me say we have vaccines now, exactly. So I want to know, okay, what exactly do we know about vaccination? Maybe the willingness of people to take vaccines, or maybe the hesitancy. So maybe after reading through maybe series of papers, and then maybe say, okay, maybe all the papers that you have read, all the papers you've come across, have only been talking about vaccination hesitancy in people in the southwest region. So you might say, okay, well, we've not looked at people in the northern Nigeria. Okay, so let's focus on people in the northern Nigeria. So that means through reading of research papers, you've been able to identify a gap, and then now you have a topic. I don't know if you get that. I just type in the chat box if you are following me. This is also commonly used when people want to apply for funding for maybe their master's program or PhD programs abroad. They check through a professor's profile, read through the research work, and then try to identify, okay, I think that I could bring a topic, or probably bring this idea into the research. So basically, that's one step. So you have a topic in mind. You have an area of interest in mind. So now, after identifying a topic, then we move to the next step. Kindly let me know if you're following in the chat box. Okay, I think I have responses. Thank you. So the second step is to identify databases and resources. And here I've tried to talk about the type of resources and also talk about databases. Where do I start from? Okay, let me talk about type of resources or type of literatures. So we have primary literatures, we have secondary literatures, and then we also have tertiary literatures. Basically, primary literatures are original studies conducted by researchers or authors, and they are published in the journal. That's basically primary literatures. For secondary literatures are like, examples are systematic reviews. Reviews basically are secondary literatures. And then we have tertiary literatures, and they're looking at encyclopedia, textbooks, and all those ones. So it's also important that when you have a topic, you have idea of, okay, which resources am I primarily looking out for? Am I only interested in primary literatures, or am I interested in both primary and secondary literatures? Then let's move to another point, and that's the databases or the web search engines. So we know that it's a world of the internet, and you can literally search anything on the web. So we have the Google search engines, we have the Yahoo search engines, and many other search engines like that. However, for researchers, for scientific researchers, I'm making an assumption that everybody here actually is in the sciences. You cannot use Google search engine to generate scholarly information. Why? Because Google would give you lots of resources, lots of results, and anybody can just go there, dump any information on Google. And that is why for researchers or for scientific research, we have Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is a search engine that you use as a researcher. We also have Pubmed. Pubmed too also is another search engine. Also, it indexes that it retrieves information from Medline. I know that Medline has a lot of articles and journals for people in the medical field. Then others, we have Web of Science, Scopus, and the likes. But the commonly used actually is actually PubMed. Why? Because for others, in most cases, you actually need to have an access by your institution to log in into those databases. Do we get that? So now we have identified a topic, and then I know that for me to get scholarly information on this topic, I have to use scholarly databases. So I've identified that I'll be making use of PubMed and or Google Scholar for my search. So that's the process of literature review. Now that we have a topic and then we have our databases or our search engine, the next step is now to do an actual search for literatures. And oftentimes, this is what the problem, or this could be a bit challenging. So, there are so many tips when it comes to searching. And I think one thing that you have to know is that you can't exhaust, or you might not be able to exhaust all available literatures. However, for your search to be effective, or for your literature reviews to be effective, then it means that you have conducted an effective search. So it means that if your search is not done properly, then your literature review might not be effective. And that's why sometimes people tell you that, or they tell the professors that they can't find anything on this particular topic. And his professor just takes a laptop, punches some keywords, and then you're wondering where she got those resources from. You search the same PubMed or the same Google Scholar that she's searching. So an effective search is very key in conducting an effective literature review. And how would you conduct an effective search? One way is you have to identify and select search keywords. I will do a practical example, I think, after this. Also, sometimes also, to actually help in our search also, we could also use Boolean operators and or as the case may be. Okay, so let's do some practicals. I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me add Okay, so let's go to Pubmed. Okay, so this is the Pubmed. This is the Pubmed search engine as cases. Okay, so I said that to conduct a search, your search keywords are very important. After you have defined your topic or you have an idea of your topic, you want to have your search keywords. So I think I'll go with my example of sexual health and persons with disabilities. Well, let's see what, okay, let me do sexual health. Let's do the other one I mentioned. Okay, so we see here that it says that Pubmed comprises 32 million citations from Medline, basically, life science journals, and online books. So let's search. Okay, so now I can see that how many results do I have here? I have 11 results here, right? And so if we look at, let's see, sorted by, okay, this sorted by best match already. So it brings sexual health, intellectual disabilities. This one also has sexual health of persons with disabilities, documenting challenges. Okay, so by the time we go through all these 11 results, we can see that everything all has keywords of sexual health and persons with disability. At least one kind of disability could also be mentioned. Do you get that? That's because our search keywords, it's like specific. Now let's try this. Now what do we have? Says no results were found. So because sometimes when people make search, especially beginner researchers, maybe for example, their lecturer has given them a topic in class, say, trying to think of a topic now. Maybe sexual expectations of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Most times, what people do is they just copy the whole of the topic, and paste it on the search box. Now, if you do that on PubMed, you may actually not get any results. So that is why, like I said, you have to identify keywords and then use keywords when conducting your search for articles. Do we understand that? So let's do sexual. Okay, so this is that. Okay, so let's deal with this. I think later we'll probably deal with the other tools that we have in. But I want you to note that when you have a topic, you have to identify keywords, and keywords would help to further narrow down your results. Okay, now I think when we added Nigeria, we didn't have any results, and that makes sense because I think what it brought out for us earlier, I'm not sure we add Nigeria in there. No, we didn't have Nigeria. We didn't have Nigeria. Let me look for something that would give us a lot of results. COVID-19. Let's look at vaccination. Okay, this is nice. So also. Trying to look for something that has as many results as possible. Okay, no, let me just do tuberculosis. Let me move in Nigeria. Okay, good. So we have 1,648 results. Now, usually, Pubmed will sort out your findings or results by best match. That's one. Now, this is 1,648 results. And if you check at the left-hand corner, you see that the results span from 1994 to 2021. And we know that when we're reviewing articles, usually we're always concerned with articles, max, let's say at least 5 years. Probably the highest can go maybe it's 10 years. So let's narrow this down. So we can try to narrow this. And then segments from 2012 to 2021. You get that? So we have it's the result. So we can use this further to narrow our search results down. Do you understand? So article type, this is already systematic review. So it means everything that we'll see will be saying systematic review. If you want maybe review RCTs, so that way, like I said, you have to identify the kind of literatures you also are interested in. So that would help narrow your search results so that you're not bombarded with a lot of literatures to read through. You get that? And also the publication date too also. So I hope we got that about search keywords, because it seems I have to run. So we're not behind time. Okay. So now the next step is
If you got my nylon.
sorry, someone said something.
What? Who?
So after we have searched, now we have to read and analyze, because like I said, literature review is like in 3 parts. There's the searching of literatures, there is the reading, and also there is the writing. So let's go back to our example again. I think we'll see the sexuality of Okay, so for me, for example, I'm concerned about the sexual needs of persons with disabilities. What challenges they have in meeting their sexual needs, or what people expect of them sexually. Yes. So now I have 11 results here, and it means that I have to go through this results to see which best suits me. So one way you can screen through, you can screen through the topic and through the abstract. So the first result is sexual health care in persons with intellectual disabilities. And this was published in 2006. I'm not interested in that. It's 2006. That's one way. Let's move to the second one. So it's from words to action, systematic review of interventions to promote sexual and reproductive health of persons with disabilities. Okay, I think I'm interested in this. This is documenting the challenges, although this is a secondary literature, I think. Well, let's check this. And like I said, usually you could have lots of results or lot of search results, and you're not able to go through all of them. So you have to be able to screen through from the topic. If you think the topic is something that feels that, okay, it meets your need, you're interested in, you open further. Now, when you open further, you read the abstract. Now, the abstract is a summary of the work. So with an abstract, you actually have an idea of what the main research or what the main body or the full text of the article is about. So now I scan through this abstract and I see that here the researchers talked about the challenges of SRHR needs of persons with disabilities in Bangladesh. Yes. Okay, so this seems interesting. And then I think it's something I may need. I save it. You also have to understand how to save or organize your search. I'm not an organized person, kind of, when it comes to searching. I download and then I downloaded haphazardly, but it's not a good habit. So you save, you create a file, and then you save it so that you can always go back there. So you have all your findings, all your search findings for that particular topic in a folder. So I read through the abstract and I feel that, okay, this is kind of similar to what I'm interested in. Yes. Let's see what kind of article it is. I think it's a secondary literature. Oh, okay. It is actually a mixed method research. And so I can actually scan through this. So it was about Bangladesh and then sexual health of persons with disabilities there. Okay, let me see. Okay, I've done that. Good. This is another one too also. Talking about barriers. Although this is a systematic review too also. Okay, it's because I have only systematic review here. So that's just one way to just check. We just keep refining your options in this left-hand corner. So you read through the abstract if you think it's something that you're interested in or that answers your topic, kind of, you read through the full text. So this tells you that the literature review process is not a rush job. Exactly. You have to, it could take a week, depending on your schedule. And then go through the full text too. So now that we have a list of articles, say maybe like 10 articles now in my folder. Yes. And now I want to write my review, because it doesn't just stop at checking through. You want to be able to summarize what you have actually found out. And one way to actually summarize is when you're writing a literature review, or when you're writing a review, write in such a way that first you talk about what is known in research. I mean, from your findings, from your search rather, what were the findings you discovered? Now the next is, don't forget that you have a topic of interest already. So you want to see if your topic of interest has already been done in research. If it has been done, you want to see, okay, what part of it has not yet been done? And that is the way we write a review. Do you understand? So I said you identify the topic, you cite the article, you summarize, and then you write your critique. Let me take the next few slides together so that I will explain. Okay, I have an example here. I'll come back to this. Now, what are the techniques for writing a literature review? One is you have to paraphrase, because you don't want to plagiarize. So that means that you have read through either the abstract or the full text, as the case may be, and you have an idea of what the authors carried out. So a way to analyze an article is this: identify the research problem and identify the answer to the research problem. Once you do those two, you've actually reviewed the article, basically. So you paraphrase. So let's go to our example now. So if I want to write this now, okay, just that in this case, it's just one article I've read through, but then we can do this way. So let's identify the research problem. Okay, so the problem here is that the SRH needs of persons in Bangladesh, of persons with disabilities in Bangladesh is neglected, and also there's a dearth of research on that issue, right? Okay, no, so this is the purpose. Purpose talk about discussing the challenges encountered by the researchers. So let's go to the answer to the purpose. Yes, And then it says some of the challenges were this. So it listed the challenges. So if I want to write this now, I'll cite the author, and this is Amin et al. 2020. Describes the challenges faced by persons with disabilities in Bangladesh as regards SRH services. And these challenges were, and so you paraphrase what the challenges were. Now don't forget that when you're actually writing a review, you've actually read through lots and lots of different articles. So most times actually, you actually compare and contrast. So we've seen Bangladesh now. I'm not sure we have any similar like this on Nigeria. So you want to see, okay, Bangladesh is a developing country. Okay, let's see what research says about SRH needs in developed countries. Okay, let's see what the challenges are. So for example, now, you find out that in developing countries, as one way to write, the challenges commonly reported were maybe stigma and discrimination about the sexual needs. While in developed countries, the challenges commonly reported were, what kind of challenge did you comment there? Okay, let's talk about maybe for challenge in the developing country, it's maybe be looking at maybe if there were tools or apps or something like that to help them with their sexual needs. And so we've combined everything, read through, analyzed, and now we're writing our reviews. So now we're written, okay, what we think is happening in developing countries, what we think has happened in developed countries. Now the research problem could be that, well, for developing countries, we actually have a depth of literatures. I mean, maybe the countries that we found out about were probably those in Asian countries and maybe East Africa. We actually found little studies conducted in sub-Saharan Africa. And then we came to Nigeria. We found out that we had no study on sexual health of persons with disabilities, particularly sexual health of persons suffering from spinal cord injury. I don't mind the way I've been talking. It doesn't sound like that's the way I will write. But I just want you to understand the process of actually writing a literature review. So literature review has an aim. And if you follow through, I have been able to say, okay, this is what I found out in literature. This is what seems to be missing. And because this is missing, I am interested in carrying out this research. So I'm interested in assessing maybe the barriers or challenges, or maybe the sexual health needs of persons with spinal cord injury in Nigeria. Did we get that? Oh, it's 8:30 already. So I think we've done examples. Right? Okay. And here I have a recommended resource. Pubmed has a tutorial actually on how to search for articles, search for authors, search for journals. There's actually a lot of resources actually. So you can actually maybe check out the website and take the tutorial at a later day. So, all right, I'm taking questions now. Hello, Innocent. I think I'm ready to take questions now. I don't know what the format is. Okay, I have a question here. It says, are we gonna cite all the articles we consulted? Okay. But like I said, actually, you may actually read through a lot of articles, but you may not end up writing about all when you're writing your review. However, when you write your review, the ones that you write or the ones that you mention while writing, you must cite them. If you don't cite them, that will be plagiarism. And plagiarism is a very big crime. Do you get that? So you have to cite all articles that you used while writing. Then the second question, someone wants me to copy the link in the chat box. So I hope I've answered your question. You don't know. And I've copied the link in the chat box as requested. Questions, feedback.
I didn't hear that question.
Okay, I have a very interesting question. Yeah. It says that, how about if you choose a topic and when you begin researching along the way, a new research comes about it? Okay, let me say it this way. Sometimes when we choose a topic, it might not be the final. It might just be that we have an idea of what we're looking out for. So for example, now, let me use my example. I am interested in sexual health challenges of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. And I'm interested in persons with spinal cord injury. So that's the sexual health challenges of spinal cord injured patients in Nigeria. And so I start searching literatures about what has been done on this topic. And maybe while searching through literatures, I probably just stumble on one very nice research that was done, say, in the US. And maybe theirs looked at let's say coping strategies of SCI patients in meeting their sexual health needs. I don't know if it makes sense. Don't mind my topic, actually. And maybe they just found out that you're probably able to discover something, and people with SCI have a way of copying. I'm like, wow, this seems interesting. Okay, and then I changed completely from challenges that I was actually interested in to something else. So sometimes actually, you could actually have a new idea. You could have a new topic. In fact, might even totally have a different idea when researching, actually. And that's what makes literature review interesting. Because you read through so many literatures and you are wowed by the brilliant minds, that you're coming in contact with through reading the articles. So it could also change your orientation, bring up new ideas, or bring up new topic. So sometimes you have a topic, I think should that circle, you conduct a literature review, you either decide to continue with that topic or change the topic, or in total change the idea. It's either of the two that happens in literature when you conduct a literature review. Okay, so someone says, if I can send a resource, the resource towards a sample of literature review, it would be nice. Okay, I'll see. I'm not sure, but I'll check. Okay, do we abandon our topic or find more detailed things they might have missed? Okay, another thing when you conduct a literature review also. Now, I said earlier that when you want to glance through an article, check what the purpose is or what the research problem is and what they found out. Another thing you should also do is check the author's recommendations. So sometimes the author's recommendations is that, okay, maybe they recommend that further research, and then they probably put an idea of further research, or maybe a different method could be carried out. So that recommendation would actually be an idea for your research topic. That's one. Another thing also is you could also look at the limitations of the study conducted by the researchers. And then you think that, okay, if we address these limitations, maybe that could also give an idea of a research topic. Do you understand? I'm trying to get that question. Very well.
Hello, can you hear me,
Yes.
Ruth?
I can hear you.
Yeah, the question was just a continuation of the other question. I said that if he chose a research topic and he began the research, but along the way, a new research came out about it. So is it that we abandon the research topic or find more detailed things they might have missed? So it's like a continuation of the question he asked.
Okay. Well, I think it depends on the person. If you decide to do the two, maybe do one first and do the other later. Or another thing, you probably want to also conduct further reviews and see which of the two actually would be more novel considering the current research findings. So you could go on with the first topic you had in mind, check for more detailed things you might have missed, or you could go on with the new topic that you have found out. So it's left to you to decide. I hope I answered that question.
Okay, yes, you did. Then the other question you missed, the person was asking about if you send a resource or something that can make them read more about research literature search. Yeah.
Well, I
So
hope
I
the
think that's what.
Pubmed tutorial would actually help. Okay. That's
Okay.
actually at bring that.
Okay. So everyone will be sending it the slides to the Telegram group also, so can get the recommended resources from this page. Okay, are there any other question?
Someone asked about paraphrasing. Okay. Now you don't copy directly. That's one thing you should know. You should always write in your own words. If you copy directly, that's copy and paste plagiarism. So the best way to do is you read through, and then when you read through, you summarize the ideas in your own words and you cite the author. Now, why you are citing is because the idea is not yours. It is someone else's idea. It is someone else's finding. All you have just done is just to write it in your own words. But the original idea is not lost. So you don't do copy and paste in research. And you don't also change the person's idea to no. So one way to paraphrase, actually, you could actually use synonyms. First talked about challenges that were faced, included inadequate funding, insecurity, what else, and all that. But then you can write that, okay, barriers to sexual health needs include poor funding. You change inadequate funding to poor funding. Can change insecurity to what other English do we have for that? I don't know. But that's just it. You don't copy directly. But then you still cite because you're citing the person as the author of the idea. The idea is not yours. Okay, secondary literatures. Examples are systematic reviews. Reviews basically, meta-analysis. They are secondary in the sense that they are not original research. Like they were not carried out like fully. How do I explain it now? They were not done like, okay, we're conducting a study and then we are distributing questionnaires or so. No, what they did was they checked through literatures and then from there wrote their own comments. Do you understand? That's why we call it secondary literature. Okay, so I hope I've explained. So tertiary is just, for example, when you write a textbook now, you're writing a textbook, you're using so many resources, so many literatures in writing a textbook. So that does not make it a primary literature. Do you understand? For secondary literature, you're already going through maybe original works that have been published. That makes it secondary. But primary is, for example, now, if I conduct that my study on sexual health challenges of persons with SCI, that's going to be a primary literature because I'm actually collecting data on it. It's original. Do you understand? So that's primary, secondary, and tertiary. And you can read up about it too. Okay, someone asked about and or. Okay, let me share screen because that's still the only way I can explain that. Basically, you use the Boolean operators when you want to improve your search. For example, So for example, sexual health, persons. So let's do it this way. Okay. Well, let's check Google Scholar. So handle basically means that any search that pops up should contain both sexual health and persons with disabilities. I don't know if you get that. That's just what it is. If you don't put and there, it's possible that your results may just yield. So let's try. Okay, well, since this is narrowed, we might still have similar. Okay, we still have similar results. Let's try all now. So all, we use all when we're talking about say synonyms. Maybe I say persons with intellectual disabilities or persons with physical disabilities. So just basically just to refine your search. So it means that I'm going to have intellectual disabilities, physical disabilities, like that. So I've just narrowed my search results so I don't bring out maybe someone with hearing disabilities or a search result that has hearing disabilities. So basically, and or just helps to further narrow what you expect from your search results. You get that? Okay, the outline that you make is a search keyword. Do you understand? Now, if you don't find them in your search, one thing you should do is you should refine your search keywords. I hope somebody can give me an example of something that I can search for that cannot be seen. Maybe let's look at one traditional rights. I don't know much about traditional medicine. Let me actually check traditional stuff. Maybe you might have answers to that. We don't have an idea of a very grave traditional practice. Okay, someone has given me a Google festival. Okay. So what about a Google festival? Should we check? What the Google festival? Okay, let's see. Does he have effects on mental health? Now, no results were found. What's a Google festival? Let's see a Google festival only. No results were found. Okay. So now we can change the synonym for a Google festival. And let's say masquerade. Let's hope it gets it right. Masquerade festival. Yeah. Okay. So let's go. Advanced search. All the times. Using your message. Masquerade. This is advanced too. So you use advanced search when you can't find something. So let's use mesh. I hope that I'm not going too technical. Okay, let's do and. So that in case we don't get this is bringing something very funny. Let's go back. Let's do masquerade. What's the synonym for masquerade? It doesn't seem like anything we're looking for. Okay, so can check Google Scholar. I think I must open Google Scholar. So let's see, keep searching. I think Google Scholar is more could help us with that. Yes. So it's possible that while we don't have search results for Masquerade Festival on Pubmed, it's probably because we could not link it to maybe something else related. I know that for Pubmed, it is basically with Medline and then updated information, unlike Google Scholar that is wider in scope. So that's one thing. So if you don't get, so we've seen different methods. If you don't get your particular search results, I mean, try other databases, use synonyms, do advanced search. Maybe when you do all those extras and you don't find, like actually now conclude that, okay, this does not exist, what you get. Or even at most, do a Google search and get something. So you can just write that, okay, maybe studies on Masquerade Festival has always been maybe in the social sciences, where they probably looked at it, maybe psychological effects, but they are yet to measure maybe outcome measures or something. I don't know if that makes sense. We can always just find a way around identifying research gaps. I hope you got that. Okay, I'm just saying I'm smoking. For that one, we'll get results. Smoking, tobacco, and genetics. Any other question? We have a lot. Also tobacco smoking, genes, talks about bladder cancer, or have tobacco smoking. So like that. We'll get.
Okay, I don't think there are any other questions. So thank you so much, Ruth, for your time.
Thank you for having me here too. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be sending the slides to the Telegram group. And if you have any questions, you can send me a DM on Telegram and I'll respond to it. Thank you everyone for attending this section. See you guys next week. Good night.